Welcome to episode 14 of Book Nerd Paradise, where we get to know an author as they tell us one of their favorite quotes, read from their work, pose a trivia question, and give away a book or two. Hi, I'm LRW Lee, author of the Andy Smithson Epic Fantasy Adventure series. As always, the ebook of book one in the series, Blast of the Dragon's Fury, is available for free download on Amazon, so be sure to get your copy today. Today we welcome YA fantasy author Leigh Goff as our guest. Leigh says her writing is inspired by an eclectic childhood, a wicked imagination, and compelling historical events. After graduating from the University of Maryland, she began writing young adult fiction with purpose. That purpose, she has always enjoyed looking to characters who wrestle with the same changes and difficulties she did when she was a young adult. Today, as a woman who enjoys fantasy and romance, she still finds herself identifying with the characters in these stories, because most of us never stop struggling with change and vulnerability. How true that is. Please join me in welcoming Leigh Goff.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Great to see you. Leigh, let's start this episode with a giveaway. What will you be giving our listeners?
I will be giving away one paperback copy of Disenchanted.
Great. Oh, that's awesome. I love the cover. We're about to find out more about it.
Yes.
To enter to win the paperback, make sure you leave a comment. Liking the episode's not gonna enter you, but if you leave a comment, you'll be good to go. Leigh, you'll be reading from your debut fantasy novel, Disenchanted. So that we can get a feel for the book, would you give us a brief synopsis?
Disenchanted is about a 16-year-old girl named Sophie Goodchild, and she is an outcast among the ordinaries in town and her own coven of witches. She's descended from a powerful witch from Wethersfield, Connecticut, and her talent is awkwardly emerging, so she doesn't have a lot of faith in her own abilities. But that soon changes as she continues through the story. And she is forbidden to fall for commoners, but of course she does fall for one. And he happens to be descended from the man who condemned her witch ancestor to hang. So she doesn't realize that he also carries a dark secret, and it's a deadly one. And it could destroy them both unless Sophie figures out how to tap into the power of her blood charm. And she also has to make an impossible choice. So that's a little summary.
Wow. Okay. There's a lot of elements in that summary. Goodness. Yes. It sounds like it's be a good story for sure.
Thank you. Yes. If you like witches, you will like this.
Awesome. Leigh, you've selected a favorite quote. If you would, tell us what it is and then why it's a favorite.
I selected a quote from John Green, who is the author of The Fault in Our Stars. And I selected it because it deals with young adult experiences and falling in love for the first time. And the quote is, "I enjoy writing about people falling in love, probably because I think the first time you fall in love is the first time that you have to figure out how you're going to orient your life." And I felt that this was applicable to what I like to write about because the teen years are like a roller coaster ride. It's the ups and downs. It's the most exciting and the most terrifying time in a person's life. And when they fall in love, that experience is life altering, and it's something that you keep with you forever.
So as I mentioned, Leigh will be reading from Disenchanted. Would you briefly set up the portion you'll be reading from and then share your story with us?
So Sophie Goodchild, who has been struggling with making that impossible choice throughout the story, finally realizes that she will have to make the choice, which is to invite black magic into her heart. And it's a forever choice that will change her, but it will be the only way to break the true love curse. So that's where we come in the story that the excerpt that I'm going to read. Okay. He sighed. Our future was under a black cloud from the past where Rebecca's curse and his father's mistakes affected us in the present. And after tonight, even if the ritual went according to plan, there was no guarantee things would be the same or better for us. I was risking my life and my soul. Even if I survived breaking the curse and the reconversion, I would be different, changed, tainted from the black magic I had already invited into my heart, and it might all be for nothing. I glanced up at him, falling into the pools of gray. I need to ask you for that one thing you promised you would give me, without question. I forced a smile, but worry creased in his brow. What's going on with you? You look different. Your clothes, your lips, your hair. Nothing is going on. And is different a bad thing? I batted my long eyelashes at him, playing at flirtatious. No, it's just different. I touched my hand to the side of his face. The stubble teased the sensitive skin of my palm. Look at me. His brooding eyes lifted to meet mine. A half-hearted smile appeared. It will be fine. After tonight, we will be better than fine. He pressed his perfect lips into a straight line. Sophie, no, I have a bad feeling, and I don't want you doing anything stupid or risky. Do you understand? He grabbed my hand and pressed it to his chest. Do you feel that? I nodded. My heart belongs to you. It beats because of you. If anything happened, I don't even want to think about that, about what I would do. His heart pounded beneath my fingers, strong and rhythmic. I took my hand back, trying to stave off the emotion that was hitting me in waves. I swallowed hard. That's why it's more important than ever that I take care of this. Sophie, no. When you said you could break the curse, I don't think you were telling me everything. It's not worth any kind of risk. We can see each other from a distance. I can love you from a distance, and maybe it won't kill us. Because if you die breaking this curse, I will die too. And then what was it all for? The curse still wins. His voice broke off. Love you from a distance? I can't do that, I snapped, not meaning to. He ignored my tone and clasped my hand again, staring at our entwined fingers. My stomach ached from the foreboding feeling. You would do anything to protect me, wouldn't you? He laughed softly, his shielded eyes looking forlorn. I don't mean to be so obvious about it. The words sounded so pleasant in his accent. Yes, you do. I swallowed hard, feeling the dryness take over my mouth. Lying required no devil's bit nectar. It came easily now. Nothing is going to happen tonight. Stop worrying. I looked up at him, his chiseled features and his brooding eyes. His closeness, the warmth rolling off him, and his intoxicating scent combined to loosen my inhibitions. His hand gently touched to my cheek. I leaned into it, drawing my face closer to his. The anticipation affected me as waves of flutters left me breathless. I closed my eyes, my body trembling. The stubble on his cheeks grazed lightly against my skin, affirming his undeniable masculinity. He kissed me tenderly as my heart thumped out of control. My fingers slipped into his thick black hair and held tightly. He paused, not wanting to pull away. I didn't let him. I was going to say goodbye properly. I held tightly, pressing my lips to his, soft at first, then hard with desire. His eyes flashed open as he pulled back. What was that? My lips pursed. What was what? That kiss. That wasn't like you. I leaned closer, whispering in his ear. Was it bad? He pulled away from me. No, just different. Are you sure you're okay? Fine, I'm fine. Give me your hand. I need that something from you. There was no time to waste. My hand held onto his arm, making sure he didn't break free when the pain hit. I kept my eyes on him while I pulled the small knife from my pocket. With laser precision, I sliced his palm, barely scratching the surface, but enough to collect the most crucial item. What are you doing? He tried to pull back, but I held firm, my hand gripping hard into his flesh. No, Sophie. I'm doing this for us. I replaced the knife with the small vial and held it up to the scratch, exerting pressure on the wound. A few drops of Mather blood trickled into the vial like a tiny ribbon of crimson. I shoved the rubber stopper in. Adair, I'm ready. From the purple family room, Adair stepped out. I knew he would try to stop me tonight, and I couldn't let him. Erase his memory and send him home. She looked at me, knowing I could easily do it myself, but I couldn't, not on him. Being around him interfered with my spells, and I didn't need anything going wrong tonight. Just do it. Alex Xavier shot me a look of confusion, but it was over in an instant. So.
Ooh, okay. Yes, what happens next? I guess they'll have to get the book, huh?
That's right. That's right. It leads up to a very good climactic finale.
Our guest author last week, YA sci-fi author Tricia Stewart-Shu, posed a trivia question.
The question was, what is the first name of the main character in the Hunger Games? And the answer is Katniss.
Lee, you have a trivia question for our listeners. What is it?
Because I like to incorporate history into my writing, and because I like to write about witches, my trivia question is this. Where and when did the first American witch trials take place?
Ooh, that's a very good question. I mean, I think I have a vague notion, but I'm not sure if that's the fact that you're asking the question tells me that my common sense is probably not the right answer. So it will be very interesting to hear what the answer is. So be sure to subscribe to this channel so that you can hear next episode what the answer is. So any final thoughts you'd like to leave with our listeners?
Because my writing is targeted to teen readers, I would like to say to them to check out the library, browse your bookstores, and start a book club of your own, even if it's just through the summer. Keep reading, and don't forget to add Disenchanted to your reading list.
Very good. Yeah. So I hope you've enjoyed getting to know Leigh Goff just a little bit. I'm LRW Lee, author of the Andy Smithson Epic Fantasy Adventure Series. As I mentioned at the beginning, if you haven't yet downloaded a copy, be sure to get your free ebook from Amazon, or actually it's available on Google Play and Barnes & Noble as well. Next episode, we have YA fantasy author February Grace sharing her novel, Upon a Time. The synopsis reads, a blacksmith's apprentice who would be a knight, the heir to the throne at death's door, one woman who would save them both if she could. Charlotte was number 64 in the second group of young, hopeful maidens intended to meet the prince at a grand ball in his honor. That introduction was not to be. She returned home to her tiny village with no concept of the turn her life was about to take. Soon she would be fighting against the odds to help keep a gravely wounded stranger alive, and waging war with her own heart as he stirred feelings she'd never known. When the stranger's royal identity is revealed, Charlotte is faced with a different battle, one to keep her family, village, and the injured prince safe from a madman set on taking the throne by any means. Ooh, that one sounds like a pretty good adventure as well. So be sure to tune in next Monday when we get to meet February Grace and get to know her a little bit. Thanks so much for watching this episode. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you again next episode. Click the button to subscribe to the Book Nerd Paradise YouTube channel so you don't miss upcoming authors, giveaways, and answers to trivia questions.